Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a great day. 108%. That's what we did last week, and that's what we're planning on doing again this week with a little bit of luck and a little bit of knowledge. So if you want to know what I did last week to turn my money 108%, grow my portfolio 108%, and see what I'm going to do this week before I do it, then turn off the football for 15 minutes. And you have to check this out. Let's jump right in. Okay, so let's start by just sort of setting the foundation for where we're at right now. Last week, we started the week with $600 in cash with nothing invested. As you recall, every Monday morning this year, we're putting $200 into the account. I'm putting $200 into the account for 50 weeks. So I'll take 2 weeks off probably around the end of the year. Total of $10,000 of cash being input into the account. And the plan is to see how far we can really grow this money over a year. I'll be aggressive with it, but capital preservation is key. So I won't be FOMOing anything. I'll be disciplined about my sells. At times, I will sell too early or sell too late, but that's okay because I'm looking at the bigger picture here of how far can we grow the entire wad of money. So we started with $600. We invested in ZNGA call options and AMD call options, and I'll show you here in a second why. We'll talk about why I got out of the AMD when I did. We finished the week up 108% at $1,250. Tomorrow morning, I'll deposit another $200. So the total value of the portfolio is $1,450 as of Friday's close this weekend. 468 of that is invested in ZNGA call options still. I sold the $95 call options January 29th AMD calls. I bought for $1.91. I sold for $3.80. Yes, I could have sold them for more, but I think they closed the day less than that, around $3.40 or so. But 99%, basically rounded up, 100%, doubled my money in a couple days on that purchase, which is good enough for me. So I took the $760, and so $22 cash was not invested in the week. So total right now of non-invested cash on hand is almost $1,000, $982. So that's where we're at. That's how we grew to 108% on those two options. We bought those ZNGAs for 49 cents, I meant to say, and they're still riding that for $1.17. And I'll show you exactly why I'm still riding that and my plan of attack there. So let's just jump into the details of those two, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm adding to the watch list for this week. Okay, so let's start by talking about AMD because I bought and sold this last week. Bought the $95 call options with an expiration of January 29th. And I purposely bought that expiration because AMD is scheduled to announce earnings on the 27th, and I believe there'd be a run-up going into earnings. What did I figure would be run-up? Well, a week and a half ago, or maybe it was a week ago now, Intel announced the appointment of a new CEO. If you want to see how much that did for Intel, go check out that stock price. That thing has not moved in years, and it blew up on that news, which, because of that blowing up on that news, caused AMD to gap down from about, let's see, what did this do? From 95.36 or so on the 12th to 91, closed 91.78. On the 13th. So I was seeing this gap here, and it continued with further weakness, dropping below 90. And I believed that going into earnings, that gap would be filled. That gap was indeed filled on Friday. It had a very nice hammer doji here on the 19th. That was a signal to buy in. And that gap was filled 4 days later on Friday, going as high as 95.95, almost $96 before going down below the opening price, by the way, and closing at 92.79. So my plan my belief, my theory, my buy thesis, if you will, was filled. So it was time to get out. I still think there's strength going into earnings. I don't think this is done moving, but I have no idea how earnings are going to be on Wednesday. So I'm not willing to risk it. So I'm out because discipline is key in this. The only way to make money in this market is to set a plan and live by the plan and not worry about what happens next, because there's so many other things to invest in. Who cares? We made money. We 99% increase in a couple days on this. Solid trade. And so I'm out. Now, Zynga. Zynga's a different story. Zynga has moved into price discovery now. It had what I expected. We bought over here. It was like on the 19th, maybe the 18th, $10 calls. And then, man, Thursday morning, the volume came in huge. I think this is, quite frankly, a little pinball action off of what's going on over with our friends at GameStop, which is total lunacy. But yeah, it's gambling, and there's a place for that, I guess. But I think this is some pinball action off of that. So it shot up, and I sat there and watched it. Those options I bought for 49 cents went as high as $1.40, maybe a couple cents more, and then I just watched it grind all day long. Thursday was a horrible day, just watching it grind, thinking, man, should I just exit this position and double my money? But, you know, I just felt like with all that volume in the morning and this just slow grind down, as long as that support held, which I viewed around 10:30, then you know, it's good enough for me. And as you can see, that it double bottomed off of that, and then Friday had a nice move up to about 1080, 1079, I think is really where it is. Yeah, there it is, 1079. It hit that, which, by the way, if you looked from the prior day, was also resistance, and immediately dropped back down to about the 1065 area. And then for the second half of the day, just formed this nice channel, slowly grinding up. If I zoom in on this a little bit, you can see the action going into the close, the last 4 hours of the day. So that's where we ended up. If you look, though, over on the point and figure, I mean, look, it just blew up over resistance of about 1007 or so, shot up 10%, grinded down and settled right in the middle, closed the week right in the middle of that downward trend at 1070. And look, so is this a very simple plan for me now? I'm looking for that 1080 to be taken out early in the week, but my stop is at 1065. So I'll play in this channel. I'm already in the money on these calls. And look, maybe it goes down, it trades down below 1065, and that'll suck because I'll get out, and then it goes up. But I'm capital preservation mode here. I'm hopeful that we see some good volume coming into the morning, and those guys from GameStop that's made some cash start spreading the love over here. It kicks it up over 1080, and then we move back into price discovery mode. But that's my plan. Very narrow focus. These calls are a couple weeks out. They're in the money now, so there's no rush. But I'm just gonna keep playing the stop. Moved my stop up to 1065. I'll play it down to 1060 just to give it a little room to breathe. So call it 1060. But I am looking for that 1080 number to be taken out, and I'll play in this channel all day long, and just the stock will tell me what to do. I won't make a trade decision based on anything other than the stock action telling me what to do. And I move my stop up, and I'll be disciplined about it. So now let's talk about the two stocks I'm adding to the watch list. Like I said earlier, I've got almost $1,000 in cash to deploy this week, and I'm looking to do it in one of two, if not both, of these that I've added to the watch list. First is Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat earlier in January, mid-January, went from the 1015, 10 low, I guess, of over here, like 1010, and shot up to over 1040, 1045 or so, over about a 1 week time span. Look, Beyond Meat was declared dead. This thing last year went through the roof. Maybe it was last year, maybe it was the year before. Last year it hit a high of almost 200, but it's moved back into nice volume, and what I'm looking for is for this 145 number to be taken out, and if that 145 number is taken out, then we're moving up. The next real resistance areas around the 170. I would obviously not play it to that. I'm looking for a 160 short-term move and beyond. And so I'm looking at buying the 150 call options with a 2-week out expiration. So February 5th, 150 calls of Beyond Meat, and those traded at 345. But I'm not buying those until I get confirmation that this is really moving up. And if you look at the point right here, there's what I'm looking for. So between 143.60 and 145, I'm looking to get into that on volume. That's the real important thing. I want to see strength in that move. I don't want to see some dilly-dally waffling kind of stuff. I want to see strength and volume coming into that, and then I'll play into it on those 150s. Hopefully I can get them for under $5, but I'm hoping for like 425, 450, and I'll grab one, maybe two of them, and I'm looking for a move up to 160 around this area. 170, I guess, is really in short order. And look, Beyond Meat's shown it can do that. It's repeatedly shown that it can do those kinds of moves. From September to October, it went from 120 to 170 or so. Even at 170, it shot up to 197, so a $30 move in short order. This thing can move. So I actually think, though those options seem expensive for 2 weeks out, if we see volume coming into this, that's not unreasonable. 150s for $4 or $5, between $4 and $5 is not unreasonable, because this could very well move to 170 very quickly, especially when we see the move over on that PPO. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you here, which I think is really exciting, is on the MACD has crossed the center line. So we had a positive divergence in the MACD, and now it's crossing the center line. And also on the RSI, we're trending back up. This thing's also not scared to get. It'll dabble in the overbought territory, but once it gets over, we see the RSI go above the 70 mark, that's the time to get out. I don't know what price that'll be, but that'll be my signal that it's time to get out of Beyond if I buy into those options early in the week. The other one, which I got to tell you, I'm most excited about is Palantir. Look, I'm a big fan of Peter Thiel. I've read his 0 to 1 book, so I've watched this company from the duration. But it tripled. This stock tripled in November. Went from about $10, $11 to $33, and it's formed a very high base, getting very close to its 50-week moving average. But here we go. Let me go back here. We've had the first ever positive crossover on the MACD for Palantir since it's gone public. And look, RSI in this one, this is a different story than Beyond. RSI is not scared to play in the overbought territory here. And this thing went from 10 to 30. And it's not scared to move, and it's not scared to hang out in that overbought territory, which is what I'm playing for. So look, this came out of Business Insiders trying to explain the huge move, the 25% move on Friday. It talks here a little bit about somebody being added to the board, Lauren Friedman Stat. That's got nothing to do with a 25% move. Who knows what that's. But what is interesting is on Friday, the company announced it will be holding an inaugural demo day on January 26th. Now, do you think somebody knows something that we don't know about what's going on in that? Very well could be. That could explain the move, something being talked about on Tuesday. So I definitely want to hold this thing and see what that's all about. I want to get in these options Monday as early as possible for a reasonable price and play on that what's being announced, what's being talked about, what's being demoed on Tuesday. The market action is telling us that something very positive is going to happen on that day. That's what it's telling me. It tells you what it tells you, but that's what it's telling me, and I want to be a part of it, and I want to check that out. So I'm looking. It's 32.50 now. I'm looking for a couple weeks out. And whoops, this is January 29th. I will consider that, by the way, but I was looking at the January 19th 35s. 35 calls. Let's see here. 35 calls at $3. And look, I know that's expensive, but look at the monster volume that came into these calls on Friday. Now, it was up almost 300%, but check this out. Almost 19,000 options were traded in that 35. look, somebody's expecting this thing to go up to at least 38 bucks. And so I'm happy with trying to get a double out of that. So let's see here. And I think, by the way, I think Tuesday will be the catalyst for seeing that move. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm adding the Beyond and Palantir to my watch list for this week. I've got $1,000 of cash to deploy tomorrow morning. I'll ride those Zynga options in that range. I'll have my stop set around 1060, and I'm looking for a break tomorrow of 1080. Hey, so if you want to see what I'm doing in real time, follow me over on Twitter. My handle's Autobahn Invest 1. You can check that out and see when I make a trade. I'll post it real time over there so you can see what I'm doing. And last but certainly not, well, I guess second to last, keep in mind, y'all, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't buy or sell anything just because I said it. That's dumb. That's real dumb. I'm just a dude with a computer that likes talking about this stuff and has fun talking about this. So hopefully you learn something. Hopefully it's a little bit entertaining. And you get something out of it. And if you do get something out of it and would be so inclined, please hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that. And or like it or comment. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day. And I'll keep you updated as the week goes on to see what's going on and if there's any changes to the plan. Have a great week, all. Thanks.